Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, November 18, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you will be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at what the US National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, and we can see that they have nothing as of 7 p.m. this evening to highlight for tropical cyclone development. As it relates to what's happening on the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have a trough that was this was the same trough that was affecting portions of Jamaica even yesterday. It has now shifted to the east, now affecting sections of Haiti, the Dominican Republic. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, you can see the clouds associated with that trough still stretching all the way to the south into the southern Caribbean, stretching all the way into Haiti, Dominican Republic, and to the north of there, still bringing some amount of clouds, showers and thunderstorms to the greater Antilles and southern Caribbean. And they're definitely getting in on some tremendous rainfall. I mean, if we take a look at the rainbow satellite images, we can see all of those oranges and reds. Definitely a lot of flooding. We've seen a lot of footage going around on Twitter showing the flooding, something very similar to what Jamaica was experiencing on Friday evening. That's what they're going through right now, in some cases even worse. And we know how it is in Haiti. They don't even have trees over there like that, so the flooding is quite easy for that country. Hopefully everyone stays safe and go to a shelter to prevent any further damage or even loss of life. Alright, so we'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for Friday night into Saturday. So it was stated that yes, we would have received some amount of rainfall, especially across sections of some central and eastern parishes, all courtesy of potential tropical cyclone number 22 for Friday night into Saturday morning. And we know when we're talking about central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. Eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. And what ended up happening? As early as the moment I posted yesterday's YouTube video, we had the Cuban Doppler radar images showing some tremendous rainfall as represented by those dark greens and yellow colors, still to bring more heavy rainfall to sections of Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Thomas. And that was definitely what took place last night. Some tremendous bad weather, some flooding definitely took place across the island last night. And we had a lot of commenters confirming the heavy rainfall. So much of it was being experienced. We have Trafalgar saying experiencing it right now. Then there are some persons talking about Flatbridge and the major flooding that was taking place because of the Rio Cobre, Portmore washing away, and all of this was yesterday. Even Kingston got it bad according to some of our Twitter followers. And even in the late nighttime hours at 11:45 p.m. we still had the infrared satellite images being posted showing a lot of clouds, bringing some deep thunderstorm to sections of Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston and St. Andrew still into the nighttime hours. That was 11:45, and it even spilled into the early morning hours of Saturday. But most of us woke up on Saturday morning to sunny and clear skies. And as a matter of fact, we had more of a westerly kind of flow across the island, so it was quite unusual. We're used to the easterly kind of flow. Then the afternoon would bring some amount of isolated or afternoon thunderstorms to sections of central and western Jamaica. Today it was a bit different, and we definitely got in on some of that rainfall across sections of some central and eastern parishes, and we're still in for some of that right now because the latest Cuban Doppler radar images at 5:30 p.m. that we posted on our Twitter page. And I want for you to keep in mind that we don't only make these posts on our Twitter page, but our Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook page at Weather Jamaica. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there. And you can see that these Cuban Doppler radar images were showing greens and yellows that represent rainfall. The section of St. Thomas, even section of St. Andrew was getting in on some of it. St. Catherine, Eastern, St. Anne, as well as sections of St. Mary. And we even have some confirmation. We have a little bit of Indian stating get some in a St. Andrew too. Then we had It's Me Doggy stating rain now in St. Thomas, Trinityville. So that indeed confirms the rainfall that we had this evening. As it relates to the latest infrared satellite images, we can see those high cold cloud tops right there off the coast of St. Mary and Portland, which confirms what we just saw on the Doppler radar images. And if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images to match up with what we are seeing on the infrared satellite images, we can see that rainfall right there off the coast of St. Mary, off the coast of Portland, represented by the greens and the yellows. So the waters to the northeast of the island are definitely getting nailed. So if there are fishers out there, fishermen, whoever the case may be, ensure that you're staying safe in that bad weather. As it relates to the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours, this is incorporating some of what we got early on Saturday morning. So don't think, wait, we didn't get this rainfall. No, this is incorporating the rainfall that we've been getting last night into this morning. So definitely southern and eastern Jamaica. And then this morning when we had those clouds coming in from the west and bringing some isolated showers to sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James. Then some of that spilling throughout the day into sections of some central and then eastern parishes. So all of this is the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours. So I hope it makes sense to you. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can still have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by 3 a.m. on Sunday, the temperature should dip down to about 22 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for Sunday, this map is showing 18 on Sunday. When we calculate that, that's about 1 p.m. on Sunday, and we are starting to see Jamaica embedded in some clear colors, so not yellows, not blues that represent below normal temperatures, not yellows that represent above normal temperature. Well, some yellows across central and eastern Jamaica for that time, but we're starting to incorporate some more of that average temperature, especially across the western half of the island, especially with that westerly flow of wind across the island as well. I know the average temperatures for the month of November about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When we calculate that, that's about 30 degrees Celsius. So if this map is right, we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 31 degrees Celsius at most for Sunday. As it relates to the dry air map, we know the dry air is represented by what we see on the key at the bottom. The yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. We're starting to see some dry air coming into sections of Jamaica, some of those yellows and oranges. And it makes sense because right behind this trough is a lot of wind coming in from the west. And there's a lot of dry air coming in from there. Luckily, it's not the Saharan dust. We see most of the Saharan dust right there across Africa as represented by those dark brown shades. We do have the lighter brown shades, but that won't even be that noticeable across the Eastern Caribbean. And we can see that for 2 p.m. on Sunday, it's not even making it as far as Jamaica. As relates to the wave forecast, we can see that surrounding the island we have some light blues up to dark blues, and we see by the key on the bottom right that represents anywhere from 0.5 to 1 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong. For the most part, winds seem to be coming in from the northwest across the island, especially on the north coast for tomorrow, and on the south coast coming in from, let's say, the south. Either way, we're having an unusual kind of wind flow. We're used to the easterlies, we're getting something else, and it's definitely going to be affecting our weather. So we can see that right now, as of 7 p.m., the precipitation forecast is correct, showing the blues that represent rainfall across the waters of the east, which makes sense with what we're seeing on the Cuban Doppler radar images as well as on the satellite images. So that is already panning out. However, as related to tomorrow, we can see a lot more whites. This is 9 a.m. Jamaica time. on both the Euro and the GFS. Look at Jamaica, we're in the clear. Definitely gonna be quite a sunny day. Skipping ahead to about 1 p.m. Much of the same. It's gonna be a sunny day, the sunniest day for the past 7 days across the island. So it's definitely gonna be a very good laundry or church day for those persons who go to church on Sundays. And we'll take the sunny day. We've been getting rainfall all along. We're still in the wet season. We're in November. The dry season starts as soon as we step into December and head all through to the month of April. So we'll take all of the dry weather now and then hopefully some more wet weather later this week before we head into the drier period. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see that we don't have much happening across the eastern Caribbean at all. Majority of the heaviest weather is still across sections of Haiti, Dominican Republic, trying to spill into sections of Puerto Rico, sections of the Turks and Caicos, just as predicted. Also, we can see some rainfall into sections of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, southern Venezuela, not to mention sections of Guyana and French Guyana. As relates to the northeastern Caribbean Doppler radar images, we can see all of that rainfall represented by the greens still lashing sections of the Dominican Republic. Unfortunately, Haiti doesn't have a Doppler radar, not to mention the Dominican Republic. We have to be relying on the Puerto Rican radar, so it goes as far as the eastern half of the Dominican Republic, which explains where we're seeing all of these greens and yellows within that. Definitely some flash flooding still ongoing as we speak. Majority of the northeastern Caribbean is in the clear at this time. Not to mention on the Barbados radar, we don't see much happening either. Just a few passing shores to the north of there, about to head into sections of Dominica. As relates to the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that we just mentioned across the eastern portions of the Dominican Republic. Don't see much happening across the basin where the radars are concerned. However, as it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we do see above normal temperatures still in the forecast for majority of the central and eastern Caribbean. The northwestern Caribbean should be getting in on some below normal temperatures as indicated by those blues. So definitely the Gulf of Mexico, majority of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, section of the Yucatan Peninsula, as well as Florida. As relates to the Saharan dust forecast, yes, some slight hazy weather as indicated by those light brown colors, stretching all the way from Africa across the Mediterranean region into the central and eastern portions of the Caribbean. But it won't even be that noticeable. We won't even have persons' asthma or sinusitis being triggered. We won't even have hazy skies at all. As relates to the wave forecast, we can see the highest wave heights are out in the open waters of the Atlantic as represented by those purples and pinks. Majority of the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico should be getting anywhere from 0.5 meter to 1.5 meter wave height, and that's because the winds are not going to be that strong. Look at majority of the Caribbean. We usually see an easterly flow. Winds are coming in from the north across the western Caribbean. Winds are coming in from the west across the central Caribbean. Winds are coming in from the south across the central to eastern Caribbean. Winds are coming in from the southeast across majority of the eastern Caribbean. And majority of these winds are averaging anywhere from 5 to at least 20 knot winds. This relates to the rainfall forecast now. We can see the consensus. Not much rainfall is in the forecast for Puerto Rico, the Windward and Leeward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe Trinidad, even, well, we see it on the GFS, some greens and yellows that represent rainfall for Trinidad and Tobago. Not so much on the Euro, and we know that when we're looking at these maps, we're looking for what both of them are showing consensus, and we don't see that. So we'll see which one of them wins in terms of the rainfall that's expected. Either way, we see the consensus across sections of Venezuela to be in the clear. Euro not showing much rainfall across Guyana, Suriname or French Guyana. Well, that's the GFS, not showing much rainfall across sections of Guyana, Suriname or French Guyana. But the Euro is showing some of that greens that represent rainfall across those spots. So we'll see which one of the models win with that. Sections of Colombia, northwestern Venezuela, sections of Panama, Costa Rica still to get in on some more heavy rainfall, as we can see by those reds and purples that represent even up to 3 inches of rainfall or more. Sections of southern Nicaragua still to get more rainfall. And we can also see that we have some rainfall in the forecast for sections of eastern Cuba, while majority of El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, the Yucatan Peninsula, and Cuba should be in the clear. I know that when both maps are showing something similar like this, the chance of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.